Hey, welcome to World Code Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The world awakens to a day that will be remembered for years to come, a day when the fragile balance of peace is tested like never before. Across every major news outlet, urgent headlines flash. Chinese J-20 stealth fighters have breached Taiwan's airspace, shattering the uneasy calm that has held for decades. The roar of jet engines echoes over the island, signaling a new and dangerous phase in the long-standing cross-strait tensions. In response, Taiwanese F-16s scramble from their air bases, streaking into the sky in a desperate bid to defend their homeland. Pilots, many barely out of their 20s, are thrust into the heart of a crisis, their training and resolve now put to the ultimate test. Meanwhile, satellite images reveal a chilling sight: Chinese amphibious vehicles massing along the coast, poised for a possible invasion. The world's financial markets react instantly, stocks plummet, traders watch in disbelief as uncertainty ripples across the globe. In capitals around the world, diplomats spring into action. Emergency calls connect Washington, Brussels, and Tokyo as leaders scramble to coordinate a response. The stakes could not be higher. Every word, every decision could tip the balance between peace and war. This is the new normal at the world's most dangerous flashpoint, a place where military standoffs and diplomatic brinkmanship have become routine, and where the risk of miscalculation is ever present. Taiwan, a vibrant island democracy of 23 million people, now finds itself at the very center of a global power struggle. Its bustling cities and peaceful countryside mask the anxiety simmering beneath the surface. The fate of this small island is now intertwined with the future of the international order. Decisions made here will echo far beyond Asia, shaping alliances, economies, and the very rules that govern our world. For China, Taiwan is more than a territory. It is a lost province, a symbol of national pride and historical destiny. Reunification is not just a policy, it is a sacred goal, deeply woven into the fabric of Chinese identity. For the United States and its allies, Taiwan is a critical partner, a beacon of democracy, and a strategic bulwark against Chinese expansion. Their commitment to Taiwan's security is both a promise and a warning. A conflict here would not be contained. It would draw in the world's largest economies and most powerful militaries, unleashing catastrophic consequences, economic turmoil, humanitarian crises, and a reshaping of the global order. The question facing humanity is no longer if tensions will rise, but how the world can step back from the brink. Can diplomacy, dialogue, and restraint prevail, or will miscalculation and mistrust lead us into disaster? The story of Taiwan is the story of our time, a test of resolve, of values, and of the world's ability to choose peace over conflict. As the world watches, the next chapter is being written before our eyes. Taiwan's strategic value is clear on any map. It sits at the heart of the first island chain, a natural barrier containing China's navy. Control of Taiwan would give Beijing a deep water port and a launch pad to dominate vital sea lanes. Most of Japan and South Korea's energy supplies pass through these waters. If China controlled Taiwan, it could choke off trade routes and gain immense leverage over the global economy. Taiwan's rugged geography and fortified coastline make invasion costly and difficult. For the US, defending Taiwan is about upholding security commitments and preventing Chinese dominance in Asia. Taiwan is the central square on the chessboard of the 21st century. The roots of the Taiwan conflict trace back to the turbulent years of the Chinese Civil War, a struggle that tore the nation apart in the first half of the 20th century. As the communist and nationalist forces battled for control, millions of lives were upended, and the future of China hung in the balance. In 1949, after years of brutal fighting, the defeated nationalist government, led by Chiang Kai-shek, retreated to the island of Taiwan. They brought with them not only their military and political leadership, but also hundreds of thousands of refugees, soldiers, officials, and civilians, fleeing the advance of Mao Zedong's communist forces. On Taiwan, the nationalists established a rival government, determined to one day reclaim the mainland. Both Beijing and Taipei insisted they were the legitimate government of all China. This mutual claim gave rise to the One China principle, a diplomatic puzzle that would shape international relations for decades. Each side refused to recognize the other, and the world was forced to navigate this complex reality. In the early years, most Western nations and the United Nations recognized the government in Taipei as the true China. But as the decades passed, and the People's Republic of China grew in power and influence, the tide began to turn. By the 1970s, global recognition shifted decisively to Beijing, isolating Taiwan diplomatically. The United States, once Taiwan's staunchest ally, switched diplomatic ties to Beijing in 1979. Yet, in a move to reassure Taiwan, Congress passed the Taiwan Relations Act. This landmark legislation pledged continued American support, including arms sales and a commitment to help Taiwan defend itself if threatened. This arrangement created a delicate and often ambiguous status quo. Officially, the U.S. recognizes Beijing as the sole legal government of China. But in practice, it maintains robust, unofficial ties with Taiwan, providing security assistance, trade, and cultural exchanges. This balancing act has kept the peace, but also left the situation unresolved. Over the decades, a unique Taiwanese identity has blossomed. Today, many people in Taiwan see themselves as distinct from the mainland, with their own culture, language, and democratic values. This sense of identity is especially strong among the younger generation, who have grown up in a free and open society. Taiwan itself has undergone a remarkable transformation. Once ruled under martial law by a military dictatorship, the island has evolved into a vibrant democracy. Free elections, a lively press, and a flourishing civil society have become hallmarks of modern Taiwan, setting it apart from its authoritarian neighbor. This evolution has not gone unnoticed by Beijing. As Taiwan's democracy has grown stronger, China has become more assertive, conducting military exercises and increasing pressure on the island. The risk of confrontation has become a constant undercurrent in the region. Today, the question of Taiwan's future is a central issue in global politics. World leaders debate its fate at international summits, and the island's status is a flashpoint in U.S.-China relations, with implications for peace and stability across the Asia-Pacific. In the Taiwan Strait, the echoes of history are ever present. The past continues to shape the present, and the world watches closely, knowing that the story of Taiwan is far from over. For Beijing, Taiwan is unfinished business, a missing piece in China's national story. President Xi Jinping has made reunification a core part of his legacy, and the Communist Party's legitimacy. Any move toward Taiwanese independence is seen as a direct threat to China's sovereignty. Taiwan's democracy is a dangerous counter-narrative to Beijing's authoritarian model. The party fears Taiwan's example could inspire calls for reform on the mainland. Under Xi, China has shifted from patient engagement to open coercion, military intimidation, diplomatic isolation, and economic pressure. The message is clear: the status quo is no longer acceptable. The question is not if, but when Beijing will act. Beyond geopolitics, Taiwan's global importance rests on microchips. TSMC, the world's leading chipmaker, produces over 60% of global semiconductors and 90% of the most advanced chips. The world's tech giants depend on this single, vulnerable island. Taiwan's Silicon Shield makes any conflict a global economic disaster. China lags far behind in chip technology, making TSMC a coveted prize. The US and allies are scrambling to build their own chip factories, but Taiwan's dominance will persist for years. The world's digital infrastructure runs on chips made under constant threat. Taiwan's tech power raises the stakes for everyone. US policy toward Taiwan is a high-wire act called strategic ambiguity. Washington acknowledges Beijing's One China principle, but doesn't endorse its claim over Taiwan. The US sells arms to Taiwan, but won't say if it would fight to defend the island. This ambiguity deters both a Chinese attack and a Taiwanese declaration of independence. For decades, it kept the peace and let Taiwan flourish. But China's growing power is testing this old formula. Some in Washington now argue for strategic clarity, a clear promise to defend Taiwan. Others warn this could provoke Beijing and spark the very war it's meant to prevent. President Biden's mixed signals highlight the policy's fragility. The future of US strategy hangs in the balance. Taiwan is the keystone of the first island chain, a vital arc of islands stretching from Japan in the north, through Taiwan, all the way down to Borneo in the south. This chain forms a natural barrier, a defensive line that has shaped military strategy in the Pacific for decades. Its geography is not just a matter of land and sea, but a living, breathing boundary that influences the balance of power in East Asia. For the United States and its allies, this island chain is more than a line on a map. It's a shield that contains the reach of China's navy and helps safeguard the vast Pacific Ocean. Regular patrols, joint exercises, and a visible military presence are all designed to reinforce this barrier, ensuring that the Pacific remains open and secure for all. But for Beijing, the first island chain is seen as a cage, an obstacle that restricts its navy's access to the open ocean and limits its ability to project power beyond its shores. Breaking through this barrier is a central goal for China's military planners, who view it as essential for national security and regional influence. Within this chain, Taiwan stands out as the most vulnerable and strategically significant link. Its location makes it both a shield and a target, heavily fortified yet constantly under threat. The island's defenses are robust, but its proximity to the mainland makes it a focal point for tension. If China were to gain control of Taiwan, the entire first island chain would be compromised. The barrier would be broken, opening a gateway for Chinese forces to move freely into the Pacific, and altering the region's security landscape overnight. With Taiwan under its control, China could project military power deep into the Pacific, directly threaten neighboring countries like Japan and the Philippines, and assert dominance over the South China Sea. This would shift the balance of power, challenging the influence of the United States and its allies throughout the region. In response, the United States is strengthening its alliances and increasing its military presence across Asia. New deployments, advanced weaponry, and closer cooperation with regional partners are all part of a broader effort to reinforce the first island chain and deter any attempts to break it. Security agreements like AUKUS, which brings together the US, UK, and Australia, and the establishment of new military bases in the Philippines, are key elements of this strategy. These moves are designed to create a network of support, making it harder for any single point in the chain to be isolated or overrun. The fate of Taiwan is not just a local issue, it will shape the security architecture of the entire Indo-Pacific. Every nation in the region, from small island states to major powers, is watching closely, aware that the outcome will affect their own security and prosperity. In capitals across Asia, leaders and citizens alike are following developments with growing concern. The decisions made in the coming years will ripple across the region, influencing trade, diplomacy, and the daily lives of millions. The chessboard is set, and Taiwan is at its center. Every move made by the players, whether diplomatic, economic, or military, will determine the future of the region. In this high-stakes game, the world is watching, and the next move could change everything. The Taiwan conflict is an ideological battle, democracy versus authoritarianism. Taiwan proves Chinese culture can thrive under democracy, defying Beijing's narrative. As China grows more repressive, Taiwan becomes more open and progressive. For the US and its allies, defending Taiwan is a moral imperative as well as a strategic one. Allowing an autocracy to crush a democracy would set a dangerous global precedent. For Beijing, Taiwan's existence is an existential threat to its political model. The clash of values makes compromise nearly impossible. For Taiwan's 24 million people, the threat of invasion is ever present, but life goes on. Streets bustle, night markets thrive, and resilience defines daily life. Regular drills and civil defense training are part of the culture. The memory of Hong Kong's fate fuels determination to resist. A strong Taiwanese identity has emerged, especially among the young. For them, this is about defending their home and way of life. The world often sees Taiwan as a pawn, but its people are the heart of the story. Their democracy and spirit make Taiwan a cause worth defending. The island's fate will echo far beyond its shores, shaping the future of freedom in the 21st century.